this is Matt Hart from London, UK. You're listening to Void Signal with Brian McClelland.
know what your loved one wants for Valentine's Day? I do. They want a Void Signal shirt. And you can get one over at shirtclown.com. And there's free shipping on orders over $35. You can also visit voidsignal.net to take a look at playlists, previous episodes, and to tip me $1 a show. That's all I ask. I hope you're well. We'll talk again soon. Hope your Valentine's Day is good and filled with my voice, I guess. Cool. Great. Anyway, hope you're good. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
That's picking me up. Is it picking you up?
Yes, it's getting both of us now, I think.
Okay, excellent. Excellent. Then we're good. We're golden.
Yeah. But like I was saying, it is good to talk to you. I know you've been super busy. Like, why is ReGen so busy? Like, just, I mean, it's never not. But.
Well, why is ReGen busy? Honestly, because it needs to be. We have a pretty good... We have a pretty good team of writers, so we've actually been getting some reviews done, which, you know, a few. I've got more than one person.
Wow.
Yeah, actually, the last
picked up my boy Ryan Hollingsworth.
Yeah, Ryan Hollingsworth, but even after him, picked up a few people a little while after him, and. You know, they've all been pretty good. We got Colin, who I believe he's either in Canada or Scotland, one of the two. I'm pretty sure Scotland though, because of the time difference. But we got him. We got a guy named Stitch, who's relatively new, but is doing a pretty good job. We got Ian Nolan, Ryan James, who for a good while I thought Ryan James might have been a clone of me, and I was kind of getting some Kurgan there can be only one vibes. But then he mentioned that he has a wife who has a kid, and I was just like, okay, good. There we go. There's the deviation. But for a while it was just kind of like, you like this? I like this too. You seen that movie? I've seen that movie too. And it was just like, this is weird. I'm talking to myself.
Best friends, like, right?
We did kind of, and now he every day he has something new to say, and he's a good guy. But yeah, for a hot minute I was just like, did someone like steal a rib from me or something? What happened here? But yeah, but he's also significantly younger. Well, not significantly, but like enough that there's a disparity. He was young enough to like nu metal.
Okay.
And in the 90s, whereas I was just hateful of it all through the 90s.
Right. Same.
So,
I mean,
but yeah, I mean, he honestly, his latest review of the Seething Akira album, a lot of people, including the band, really picked up on the fact that he kind of called out nu metal as a genre for its sort of toxicity, and how like the new breed of bands that are inspired by nu metal are, they're taking the good parts of the music and none of the bro factor, which I'm like, good.
Right.
Maybe now I'll start to like nu metal. Right. But yeah, I mean, we got writers, there's just a lot going on, and yeah, I just decided, well, I got nothing else going on in my life besides work and all this adult responsibility and stuff that's going to make me miserable if I focus on it. So let me at least do some more ReGen to at least feel like I'm doing something, that's worthwhile and enjoyable.
Sure. No, I get that. I mean, like, it's the same with me. I like doing Void Signal shit.
Absolutely, man. I've noticed sane. You've been kicking ass with it.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I really do.
It's true, man.
I was hoping I was making you proud, Papa.
I'm sorry. I have become the proud Papa. I love my job.
I've done it. I've arrived. This is the valid. We can cancel Void Signal now. We're all done.
You need not. No, you are not going to cancel.
I do appreciate it. It was. I put a lot of time into it, and it's been nice that it's like. It's really starting to kind of catch, and I'm trying to like not get backlogged. That's the thing that's like important to me, is because my process gets way fucked up if I have more than one. There's some sort of like mounting pressure of like, I don't want to do any of them. And I mean, plus, at the time, my episode release cadence was like, I've gotten a lot better about it. It was pretty fucking slow for a while because I was processing and going through a lot of shit. But yeah, it feels good to try and keep it pretty consistent and like have a quick turnaround on episodes. It's been good. It has been good. I've been getting lucky with a lot of people being patient. I'm recording with Tony from Dance with the Dead next week.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, and I mean they blew up in the last year.
They have, yeah.
So things are good. Things are exciting. Like I feel like I'm in the position to do exactly what I want now. Does that make sense?
Excellent. Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's but yeah, I'm with you on the backlog. I mean, it's so easy to get overwhelmed by just the sheer amount, and then to just think, fucking, I'm not going to do any of it. And eventually you pick up and just decide what's worth doing, and then kind of put yourself into a rhythm. I mean, that's the thing is once you fall out of the rhythm, then it's so easy to stay out of it and to not find it again until much, much later. But thankfully, I'm glad to see that, with Void Signal, it's gotten more streamlined, and same thing with ReGen. I just kind of devoted myself to a schedule of like, okay, look, every month we're going to have a batch of reviews. Interviews, will happen, when they happen, because they're pretty inconsistent. Whenever it's like, hey, I'm ready for an interview, I'm like, well, I'm not.
Right.
But everything else, just kind of do it when it's ready.
Right. And transcribing to text is never fun. But I think that like before I left, you had been talking about cutting down on review lengths, and I definitely, maybe it was even a thing that we'd been doing, but cutting down on review lengths was big. I feel it gave me a chance to get more enjoyment out of whatever I was listening to. I felt like.
Yeah, well, I that's another thing with like the current batch of writers is that a few of them have actually been very responsive to trying to stick to this format. Where I even basically told them, look, just write the review. Don't worry about the track listing and all the links and all that stuff. I'll take care of that. And a few of them have been like, no, I want to get this right. And so their enthusiasm has, at least for that, has helped. And then a couple like Ian have been just like, I'll let you do that because I'm still going to get it wrong. And I'm like, I appreciate that, so, right. But it helps. At least there are templates and whatnot. And again, streamlining everything that we started adding Instagram links. I'm thinking of getting rid of the Twitter links, but then again, we have a lot of engagement on Twitter still. Right. So the Muskiverse persists.
I did notice that you've had a lot more. I feel like over the past like 6 months or so, I've definitely seen a lot more ReGen stuff like all up in my business. Like it has, you have been getting a lot of like, I don't know. I've just been seeing it more out there, more responses, I guess.
Well, I mean, I'm glad. And yeah, it does seem like a lot of people have been responding to it more. I actually got into an argument with somebody today over, lo and behold, over articles that were several years old, but whatever. Better late than never, I suppose.
You are so controversial that it takes years for people to realize just how.
Apparently so. Well, apparently so. I mean, the main joke that happened, I'm sure anyone who's listening to this will probably know, but there was a band that I did a review of that it was intended for it to fly under the radar. It was just sort of like, look, this is bad. Don't waste your time. Mm. And apparently it took them 2 years before they just went into these hateful, bigoted tirades of just, incoherent, grammatically corrupt, just no punctuation, and just like anything hateful that they could think of, all the while saying that they were going to sue me for defamation, which I'm just like, so I'm just wondering, I
saw their Facebook, like with what money? With what?
Right. I mean, and regardless of that, the thing that a lot of people pointed out was like, I just wonder, did it take them 2 years to figure out what to say? Have they been stewing over it for 2 years, or did they just find it? And I'm like, I'm kind of amused by the idea that they just for like 2 years, just like for like, I would love to think that that's what was happening.
Yeah. And I mean, I read your review and it was hilarious, first off, but but also, I was like, you can't make up like, 2-minute silences on a fucking track. Like, that's not whatever art. If you're trying to be artistic, it fucking missed, and it's not appropriate for what we call music.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that was the thing. What wasn't that the thing I said was like, it's 2 tracks. Each of them are 5 minutes long, but one of them ends a minute before, the other one ends 2.5 minutes before. So you're getting 6.5 minutes of sound because the word music doesn't apply here, and they were expecting people to pay $7 for that. So that's more than $1 per minute.
Yeah.
Which I'm sorry, I don't care how good you are. That's insulting.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, and honestly, it went from hilarious to pathetic, and I haven't heard from them in a week now, and I'm just waiting for the next thing because I'm gonna hear something eventually. I mean, as Eric from Interface said, like, you're in for a long week, dude. I'm like, it's already been a long week, so I'm expecting more.
Your whole existence is long weeks, as long as I've known you.
It pretty much.
Yeah. I was gonna say that ain't gonna change.
Honestly, it's funny because in my old band White Shadow, we have on the last album we did. There's a song called 6 Months of Sundays, and I didn't write the music for that. I did contribute, instrumentally. I wrote some stuff, but not on that song. But they couldn't find a title, and I said 6 Months of Sundays. And I think I was referring to this person I knew who it was literally just every Sunday was long conversations of despair and life is miserable and blah, 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 blah. And it got to the point where I was like, your life is just, the last 6 months every Sunday has just been listening to you, bitch and moan. And the phrase 6 months of Sundays. So I'm like, that works. My life has been six months of long weeks and 6 months of Sundays. And so it's interesting how those terms get coined by and never used.
Right. Yeah.
But
that reminds me, like, you I mean, you love music, like, it fucking shows, but like, why, like, why haven't you been making your own?
Truly, a lot of it has to do with time and resources. I don't have the setup that I did once have when I was able to at least make demos.
Sure.
And getting that setup back means spending some more money that I don't have, especially now that I apparently owe the IRS because of my severance pay from last year, which, having had that job for more than half of my life, I had no basis of understanding that, oh wait, my severance pay is going to be taxed after the fact.
Right.
So I was like, oh great, here I was using that money to take care of things, to take care of bills and get caught up on things and fix things in my life. And then, oh yeah, by the way, you probably should have saved some of it because the government's going to want some. God damn it.
Right.
So, things, and, adult responsibilities come in like that left and right. And I just don't really have the time to make music. I still play. I have like guitars and keyboards all over my house, and I just play for fun. And I also have this kind of feeling of, I don't want to say that I'm too old to be making music, but I also just kind of feel like I'm at a point where the imperative to have something to say musically and creatively is a little bit less than it was when I was in my 20s and 30s. I've been in bands. I've played live. I'm good. Like I've lived the dream to the extent that I don't need to go play at the Rose Bowl and put out my own live album to rival Depeche Mode's 101.
Right. No, that makes sense. I bought a MIDI controller, like Brian advised me on one, and I've installed Ableton, I've opened it, and it's a task I've set before myself of like, oh, this year I'm going to try and make a song. but
Cool.
it's easy to just kind of like let time get away from you too, like with doing other shit. So, and like, you know, life gets in the fucking way of shit. Like sometimes you just fucking can't. So,
I mean, that's the other thing is that like my old bandmate from White Shadow, Donnie, and I, we still talk. We're still friends, and we do. He works on his own music as well. And for a while, we were just working on a KMFDM cover for fun, and we haven't finished it yet because life has kind of gotten in his way. His divorce is from his last wife is this long odyssey that I cannot discuss because it's a lot of personal stuff, and but it's also just like if anyone were to hear the story, you would just think, oh my god, like you know, you'd think how we used to put people in mental asylums and now we just let them roam free. You know, what's going on? So you know, but
one thing I do want to ask you just before we like go too far afield, because I just remembered it, as far as you seem to just review everything that gets sent in, but I know that has kind of shifted. So what's the process? Like, what, somebody sends something to ReGen, what happens then?
Well, our process, as I always explain, is, you know, just send us what you have, and you know, we don't review individual songs. For a while, many years ago, we had track reviews, and we found that was taking up a lot of time because it's so easy to talk about one song, and for that to turn into this thing of just a long diatribe where he's just like, okay, yeah, but I could also be spending this time talking about an album or an EP or other things, and instead I'm writing this polemic about a single song, you know, which was fine, but the rewards for it were far less than we were putting into it, and it was just taking up a lot of time. So I basically just say, look, if you have an EP or an album or whatever, go ahead and send it to us. We will add it to our queue. And the way it works is because we have various writers, I keep a spreadsheet of just everything that we have, and within a certain time frame, i.e. anything that's older than 10 months, basically. Like, so we're in February now, so anything that was released prior to what was 10 months ago, prior to May 1st of 2022 will not be considered for review anymore. And that also means that anything that we did have that that was released before then that we had not reviewed yet, we will delete that, because we, in a way, it's also to maintain credibility so that we don't end up being a source for leakage. Obviously, the writers get to keep whatever they are given for review. Mm-hmm. But if nobody claimed anything and we have something like the 20 albums that we can't review anymore because they've passed the our 10-month window, well, I don't want to keep them on my hard drive on the odd chance that I might never listen to them. Mm-hmm. Because I'm so busy listening to everything else,
right?
Or the odd chance that they might somehow get leaked, which who knows? My hard drive is not public, but you never know. This, it's the digital age. If somebody wants something,
I mean, it's a precaution, and it's a step that you don't have to take. You know what I mean? You just let it fucking rot, and go wherever, whatever. But I can appreciate that.
Yeah, and basically just letting the writers select what they want to review. And thankfully, because so much of what we receive are not like, it's not like the new Imperative Reaction and the new Aria album. And I mean, we get those. Yes, we get the latest Metropolis and Artifact. And, we are in the promo pool for all the labels, but we're also in promo pools for a lot of publicists who work with smaller labels or who work with more esoteric labels, and even amongst the big labels, there are just a lot of bands that a lot of people don't listen to or don't know. So it's we don't show favoritism, in that sense. I mean, the only reason the last couple days have been like the Ministry tour with Gary Newman, the Skinny Puppy tour, the Sisters of Mercy tour. It was like, okay, so the big bands announced tours,
Yeah.
but we also made announcements last year for like Finite Automata and Unit Code Machine, both awesome bands and really good friends. And I'm sad that I had to miss the tour, but I'm waiting for bands like. I'm waiting for bands like them to tell me, when are you going to tour, so I can make the big announcements for you guys as well. And
right.
but as far as reviews, I just leave it up to the writers to see what captures their interest. And I make it a point to tell everybody two things: try to look for things you don't know, because you might find some diamonds in the rough.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, don't focus on being positive. Focus on being honest and fair. And obviously, when I say don't be positive, I mean be positive, but not to the extent of like, if you have to be critical, don't be mean.
Shapeshifter, I will drag you down.
And because meanness is that's the one thing that I think when we get into the subject of critique, that people think if you're being negative or if you have something critical to say, that you're pointing out something that's wrong and thus it's being mean. And it's like, no, you're asking for a critical assessment. You're basically asking to be graded in a sense.
Yes.
And while I'm hardly an educator, nor do I have the qualifications to be an educator,
right,
it is kind of the role that you have to assume in a sense. And it sounds so pompous when I say it, but that's kind of what you have to do. You have to assume a sense of authority. I don't know everything about music, for as much as I listen to music and for as much as I have taken lessons and everything.
Remarkably ignorant. Just so clear.
Right? I mean, I don't claim to be an authority, but I have to at least present an opinion and a critique in as authoritative a manner as possible so that it can be taken seriously, and so that people understand, like, I'm just trying to tell you, what I think will make it good or make it better. Right. And honestly, as I always say to anybody that I give a bad review to, all right, make me eat my words. Go, make your next album the best fucking thing that's ever been released, and make me go, all right, I was wrong.
Right. Yeah, because
death threats work too.
I would love to print that review. You know what I mean? To be like, I was fucking wrong. This band's fucking banging. Oh, they're
I have had a few.
I wanted that. I mean, when I was there, like,
Yeah.
But no,
it's a great feeling.
I think that's fair. And I as for like that criticism of like, and it was something I struggled with too. Like, it was that conceit of like, well, I haven't made a record or I haven't done a thing, but it's like, you don't have to know how something is made to love it, and to love it so much that I'm taking the skill I do have, which is writing and thinking and running my mouth. Like, I can take those skills and I can bring them to bear on what has been created. So it's like, I think I've come to terms a lot better with like, with reaching that realization of like, well, your voice matters as much as anybody else's, which is, I mean, arguably zero in the grand scheme of things, but not to get too existential or deep, but ultimately that's the reality. But either way, like, I do understand what you mean.
I mean, I keep coming back to Orson Welles quotes, which my friends love to make fun of me for that. But really, the man is in so many ways my philosopher guru when it comes to art. And there was an interview where he talked about how he thinks that artists don't necessarily make the best critics. And artists meaning whether they are the painter or an actor or musician. Like, he basically said the one area that they probably shouldn't pontificate is in their own shop. And I've always, as someone who has made music, I could argue, hey, wait a minute. Who better than a musician? So who better than someone who knows how it's made? Who better than a painter who knows, the process of painting and mixing and color and getting all that to work, or a producer who works in a studio and understands all that. But at the same time, I think he's right, because, a good, fairly large percentage of the people, the audience for any work of art, be it an album or a painting or whatnot, are going to be people who probably aren't involved in it. And so their participation is in the experience of it. And that's what we're talking about. And, it's so easy, I think, for an artist to get bogged down into those details. I mean, I did have a writer years ago who he had just come from music school, and he had studied under Hans Zimmer, actually, not unlike Brian from Revolution. He had worked on that, and when he was writing reviews, ultimately he never wrote for ReGen, because I was like, you're not good at this. Mm-hmm. He was not critiquing it. He was judging it entirely on the and the meticulousness with which they mixed this and that. I was like, okay, but does it sound good?
Right.
You know, does it make you feel anything? Like, is it, what is it, a good song? And it was just like, well, and then he starts talking about like Locrian mode, and I'm just like sitting there like,
Too much
like,
analyzing the craft, I guess.
right. And there's value in analyzing the craft, but that's not what we're doing, and that's not the point of, I think, a critique.
And I think you touch upon a really good point there, and that is that a review by ReGen or a review by Sounds and Shadows or Sideline or whoever. I mean, like, there's a bunch of them, and I'm no offense to any that I'm leaving out by any means, but,
right.
But I do think there's tremendous value just in that, like, this is the audience. Right? This is your audience, because most of these people are volunteering their time to do this. But this is your audience who are taking their time to sit and listen to your thing, this thing you've made, but B, taking their time to provide you with thoughtful feedback, with with as best communication skills as they have. I mean, like, I went to school, you went to school. Like, we are, the people inside who are doing this are people who love it enough to care about it and care about writing a thing that's coherent and thoughtful and, fair. Yep. Most of the time. I'm not going to speak for everybody, right? But
well,
I think there's a tremendous
but that is the goal
from that perspective.
Yeah. Absolutely, I agree, and that is the goal. Just to try to communicate an idea, and
sure,
but I don't know, communication these days. I mean, if you'll allow me my old man yelling at the cloud moment here.
Hit me with it.
No, I'm actually not. It's amazing. I think that these days we have so much avenue for miscommunication, and not lack of communication, but miscommunication. It's so easy to just, and a lot of it really is just, you don't. We did an interview recently with a Japanese band called Dawn Razor, and there was one part where the guy said, get off the social media, get off your phones, talk to people face to face. And I was just like, oh, I miss those days, kind of,
right.
In a way. And because it feels like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm romanticizing, when I was a younger guy and we had no choice. We didn't have social media. We didn't, but when you had to talk to somebody, and
right.
it always seemed like there was less chance of miscommunication when you were there, even over the phone, because you can hear the person and you can pick up on
tone, inflection. Sure.
Yeah, exactly. And these days it's like you have to have the hashtag sarcasm alert.
Right.
It's like,
sure.
I don't know how hashtags work. I don't have enough. I don't have enough time.
Text is up for interpretation. It could go either way. I mean, like, if somebody's if I'm in a bad fucking mood, like, I might read something the wrong way. That's just how monkeys work. So
it is. I mean, that's another reason I don't pay attention to Twitter so much, because so much of it is just reading comments like,
man.
And it's not even the comments themselves. It's the fact that people are correcting each other on their interpretations of the comments. Like, I think they were referring to the original tweet, not the one that I'm just like sitting there like,
I mean,
dance, puppets, dance.
If you, I mean, it dashes my hopes a bit to see some of the comments, some of the conversations on there, like, because I don't know, like, I really wish people would take a lot more self-assessment. Like, wow, does this matter to me? Is this worth my time? And I think I don't know. People can fill their time however they want, whatever gives them joy and pleasure, I guess. I mean, if you're getting your kicks on fucking hanging out on Twitter, like being a dickhead, cool, great, I guess. But I wish more for people. Like, I wish people would have better experiences, I guess.
I do not disagree.
I would prefer that people had 0 bad days because of some dickhead on the internet. It
would be nice. It's always fun to me just to think, and I think I even made a comment to Jim Simonic yesterday about just I don't understand the mentality of someone who all they wanted to do was to talk shit that day.
Right.
And I can understand that there's, I guess for some people there's a certain high that comes from it, or kind of like.
Sure.
But I mean, I don't know. I don't have that, and it's anytime I do get that, because I do get the urge sometimes of just like, I just want to be a dick and just tell people, God, shut the fuck up, or whatever,
frequently.
And then and 9 times out of 10,
eloquently, right? Like you want to, not so vulgar as shut the fuck up. You're gonna be like eloquent.
Well, generally I try to be, but most of the time I'm referring to those times when you do just want to be vulgar. You just want to I have no case to make. I just want to tell you that you're an asshole.
Yeah.
And then I just don't have that kind of time or energy, and usually I feel bad after it, and I know that's just the way I'm wired, and it's not the way other people are wired. So yeah, I mean, as you said, if that's what you get your kicks on, more power to you. But I'm just like, I don't understand that.
Yeah.
I do not understand the real true evil.
I do want to ask you about, like, you mentioned all these like big ass tours kicking off.
Yep.
It's pretty crazy. Like I'm a little surprised that there's so many at once. I mean, like, some of these festivals are just like crazy. That's Sick New World Festival in Vegas, when that got announced, and the funny thing was, so many people, when I posted the news in ReGen, so many people commented on us like, is this for real? And my source was Sasha from KMFDM. He was the one who sent it to me, and I was like, is this a joke? Or he's like, no, that's our next thing. And I was like, oh, okay. So this is a news post. He's like, yeah. I was like, okay. So I posted the news, and just, for months, everyone's like, is this happening? Is this real? Is this, how did they get Skinny Puppy, My Life with a Thrill Kill Cult, Ministry, KMFDM? Like, we'd be here all
and then
listen them all. It's crazy.
And then all these new metal bands like System of a Down, and it's like, wow, it's like 1998 just decided to have a kid.
Yeah.
And which is fine, and I'm glad things like that happen. I mean I know I
was looking at it and I was like, hey, maybe, and then I'm like, wait a minute, one day. Absolutely no. Fucking no, I'm not gonna do this.
Yeah. No, and we had thought about it too. Like, Tabby and I were looking at that, just thinking, maybe. I've never been to Vegas. I mean,
every time I see festival lineups now, I'm like, maybe.
Yeah.
But, like, this one was like an immediate no.
Yeah, over one day. I mean, at least Cold Waves and Resistance happen over multiple days, and Mechanismus, and
I'm not going to enunciate the Z. I'm sorry, I'm just not. Like, it's a cool name, but I'm just gonna say Resistance.
Resistance. Okay. I was about to say what?
I mean, okay. no offense to the people making it. It's a cool name, but I'm not.
It might even be. I just because I just see that, and that's what it. Because I know that the TANZ, it's supposed to be like the German for dance, and but
maybe I'm stupid. I don't know.
No. I don't think so. I think I could be wrong. That's just what my brain looks at, and I see Resistance plus Tanz. Oh, Tanz mit Leibach. Yeah, it's a German for dance.
I just thought it was like, oh, we supplanted,
you might be right. You might be right. I don't know.
Oh,
maybe I might be over intellectualizing it. I do that sometimes, but
maybe
I like to think people are smarter than I think they are.
Stupider than it is. I
don't know.
Maybe it's I don't know.
But either way, I mean, but like those at least have the good sense to go on over multiple days. And it's funny you talked about the pronunciation, because I just interviewed Eric from Unicode, and he kept pronouncing Mechanismus, and at least, and I never corrected him, because he could be right. Like, I in my head, Mechanismus sound, because Mechanismo,
that's how I say it. But
yeah, like, but he says it the way he does, and there was a point where I just kept internally saying, shut up and let him say it. It might be right. You could be wrong.
right.
But yeah, but then it reminds me of a conversation I had with my brother where he insists on pronouncing it H.R. Geiger, and it turned into this bit where he was like, I feel like Geiger is correct. I was like, no, but it's Giger because it's Swiss and that's how they pronounce it. But I feel like they're pronouncing it wrong.
Right.
I was like, you feel like the Swiss are pronouncing their own name wrong? He's like, I feel like it should be this. And I'm just like, okay.
I feel like I know better than a whole culture. All right.
Right. Well, it's like, I mean, at that point, I was about to say, well, everyone's been saying my name wrong for my entire life, but what do I know? Maybe
that isn't going to change now. I would not attempt your last name even this moment. So
my last name's not even the worst.
Yeah. I don't even know what your full name is, but so I know it's Giger, but I will still say Geiger because I fucking want to. Like, all right, so that's it.
Yeah, which I stopped correcting people a long time ago.
Okay.
Like,
I mean, one guy, if somebody wanted to like try and correct me now, I'd be like, I don't care.
Yeah, it's not going to change. Yeah,
I'm not gonna
and plus, I mean, like somebody even said I was trying to.
That's what matters.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So
like,
fuck off.
Pretty much. I mean, wait, you don't know my full name?
No, it's Ilker Yücel something that I can't make my mouth.
Yücel.
I feel weird saying it. I feel like it's not right.
Okay. Oh, all right. That's understandable.
All right. It feels unnatural in the mouth, like speaking some sort of cursed tongue. That's a joke. I swear. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Honestly, like I'm actually kind of amused that most people when they say it wrong, it's because in Turkish it's a C, Yucel, but the C is in Turkish is pronounced as a J, so it's Yücel, even though it's people say you sell. My dad loves to do the dad joke of, I don't sell anything. What are you calling me that?
Right.
I'm just like, ha, Dad.
Yeah.
And then people accuse me of just being cute when I put the umlaut over the U, and I'm like, no, that belongs there. That's Turkish alphabet.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
years ago.
That's only my fucking name.
Well, I mean, the people add umlauts to. I mean, no, Blue Oyster Cult does not need an umlaut, but they're a metal band, so like it just looks cool.
Yeah, sure, I get it.
But it's nowhere near as bad as some band years ago that accused me of, like, are you even really Turkish, or did you just adopt that name because you thought it'd be cool? I'm like, what an odd question.
Yeah. That was somebody like Googling you, trying to find some dirt on you and looking for something like.
Well, they were mad about it. They were mad about a review.
Oh, you don't say. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Right?
I will give you credit that you have. It does seem that you have mellowed a bit on, because I mean, like you've written some pretty scathing reviews over, the course of doing this.
A few, but I never, again, it was like I never try to write bad reviews, but at the same time, I'm just my goal has always been like, look, be honest and be fair and objective, and sometimes that means you have to remind people, look, you don't have to like everything. I remember years ago, Vlad McNeely wrote for ReGen. Before he hit it big as a graphic artist for Armalite Industries, and God love him for it because he's fantastic at it, and I'm so happy that he has made a career out of that. He used to write for ReGen, and he was good at it, but I always had the issue of, dude, you don't have to like everything.
Right.
And now I'm at this point where, as you said, I've mellowed, and I'm just kind of like, there's good. And then there's bad, and I feel like a lot of bands now have to try harder to be bad.
Yeah,
and from the standpoint that, like, you have all of the means and all of the, you have all of the means available to you, whether it's equipment, whether it's music, the way you want to play music, the way you want to learn how to play music, and the fact that younger generations now are respectful of older music, but are also just not bound to it, which I love.
Yes.
And why I have a problem with a lot of DJs in the DC and Baltimore area. I'm not going to name names, but this idea that the scene is this thing that we have to appeal to the young people, and I'm just like, leave the young people alone. They know what they want, and they'll figure it out for themselves.
Yeah.
And we don't have to like give them the hug that their parents don't give them. We just have to let them know, like, hey, do your thing and we'll support it. Instead of, because no kid wants to walk into a club and listen to granddaddy DJ telling them, oh, well, if you like that, then you'll really love this. And it's like,
right.
Yeah, I'd rather listen to my thing. Well, no, but you should listen to this. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that at any age.
Yeah. No.
So.
Oh, and I especially didn't when I was younger. Like,
exactly.
No. Like, I was very flippant. Like, fuck off, Grandpa. I like what I like.
Exactly.
I'm still kind of that way. Just a more amplified, confident version. So I can just be like, what I like is not for everybody, and that's fine. Like, it's whatever.
Yeah. Like, you don't have to justify it.
Yes, exactly.
And with regards to reviews, actually, it's so funny regarding that band that took 2 years to find the bad review. I still love the comment that Eric Gottsman left me, which was, and here I was thinking, yeah, ReGen is cool, but their reviews are a bit too effusive. And then he read that review and said, I take it back.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no, I can still rip them to shreds if I really want to.
Yeah.
But, huh?
You still got that venom, even if you have mellowed a lot more.
Yeah, I save the venom for when it's really required, because that's generally my biggest rule with reviews is, if I'm listening to something and it compels me to have something to say about it, because there's so many albums that I hear that I'm just like, yeah, that's good. Oh, I'm sorry. I need to elaborate on that. I really don't know if I can, because I'm just like, I like it and it's good, but I don't really have much more to say about it.
Yeah.
And it's this, yeah. And sometimes it's the same with albums where I'm like, oh, this is bad.
Yeah.
I don't really want to talk about why it's bad. Sure. And then there's some where it's like, oh, this is bad. Oh, I have thoughts. I have things to say.
Right.
So reviews for me are just whatever moves me into having something to say about it.
Right. And I mean, to that end, I do think that you have you've done a good job of being a critic and calling things out that need it. And I definitely
appreciate that.
I don't know. The thing that I've been kind of struggling with Void Signal is that there are a lot of topics and a lot of things that I want to say and I want to get loud and loud about that maybe aren't popular. And I'm trying to find that happy balance between, like, I'm growing my brand, so maybe some eggshells are necessary at this time. But I also am like, well, that's not very industrial to just, like, care what people think. So it's like, well,
true.
I mean, I'm also an advocate of, like, who gives a shit what people think? Just, like, do whatever. Be your biggest, loudest, whatever. Like, we're all apes around a watering hole trying to impress each other. Like, that's human existence. Sorry. But,
very true.
So be loud, I guess, but maybe not be loud if you've got shitty, problematic opinions. Maybe keep those to yourself. Or change them. I don't know.
Well,
have an experience that's not.
Yeah.
Anyway,
as I always just say, read the room. I have, like, let's put it this way. I am a little bit older, and I'm getting older, and
yeah, you are.
And as we and while I've always said this, I support change even if I'm not personally able to participate in it. And then people say, "Oh, that's ridiculous." Of course you're able to participate in it. You're choosing not to, and it's not always a choice. When that's the one thing that when I do have a certain empathy for the mindset of people who are like, man, for years this was okay, now it's not. What do you mean I can't say this? Or what do you mean that's not okay? And it's difficult because it's a difficult thing to keep up with change, and it's a very active effort that can get exhausting and overwhelming for a lot of people, especially when you reach a certain age. And I'm learning at having reached that age or reaching that age that the best thing to do is shut up and let it happen, and just don't rock the boat. And by not rocking the boat, I don't mean don't force change, but when people say this is cool now or this is not cool now, I'm like, okay, I'm going to stay out of the way, because it's not a matter of my opinion. It's a matter of what the what the world is going towards, and I would rather live in it.
Sure. All right. I don't know where to go with that. You kind of like, I just.
Let's get to the dick joke.
All right. Well, let's move on. That was great and insightful. Let's continue. All right. So I will ask, like, what are some things that you've been enjoying lately? Like, what music, movie? Like, give me all of it. Like, what do you got?
Well, music-wise, it's kind of hard to say just because there's been so much. And, DeConbrio released a new single for a new album. And they're a cool band out of Nashville that have that kind of alternative 90s rock feel with industrial production. And I like them a lot. And so they have a new single out. Weird Wolves have a new single out. Scold put out his cover of Depeche Mode's Blasphemous Rumors, which is I haven't listened to yet, but
well, then you can't recommend it. So,
well, I'm not recommending it. But
I asked what you were enjoying. Not, I want to like.
Well, yeah.
But I am something you've not experienced.
No, but what I am enjoying is the fact that it's the first taste of Cleopatra doing a new tribute comp, and that's enjoyable to me because Yeah, that's been a minute, but that was for the longest time my long-running joke of Cleopatra's not a label. They just put out tribute comps left and right, and then they became a label, and now they're doing the tribute comps again. I'm just like,
yeah,
that I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying the cyclical nature of it all. But music-wise, I am liking DeConbrio. I'm liking Weird Wolves. I really think they're awesome. The new Lead Into Gold, it sounds really great as well, and can't wait to hear the full album, and I can't wait to see him on tour.
Yeah.
And music, I could go on. There's just so much that I'm hearing and liking, and I've got 4 tours coming up. I'm going to the Rise of the Machines tour with Static X and Fear Factory. I'm going to that. I am going to the Sisters of Mercy tour. I am going to the Ministry Gary Newman Frontline tour. I am going to the Skinny Puppy tour. So I'm going to all of them.
I may make it to Cold Waves this year if you will be there.
I will definitely be at Cold Waves. I have not missed one yet, and I will be very happy to see you because I loved hanging out with you at Cold Waves LA, and the fact that it's been 6 years blows my mind. What is time? Yeah. What is time?
That was an incredible, like, what a lineup. Like, it was so good.
Oh, yeah. And we were, and beyond that, honestly.
Sarah was there.
Oh yeah, we had Sarah. Yeah, and I miss her.
That was like the biggest clump of ReGen that's happened
ever
for a minute or ever. I mean, I guess you would know.
Yeah, for quite a long time. Yeah. And beyond that, movies. I haven't really seen a lot of new movies.
Let me pump the brakes real quick.
Sure.
I'm going to jump in with a music rec.
Okay, go ahead.
The new record from Sam Tar. I I love Sam. I discovered him through somehow on my Spotify I got hooked on Processor, and that led me to his side project Modesty Beast, where he had hired a singer over the airwaves, through the internet. He'd hired Sam, and Sam has his own music, and man, it is so good. It's so good. He can just
what's the last name?
Samtar. It's all one
Samtar.
word. Samtar. And
nice.
He just like folk rocky kind of metal kind of stuff. Like he can do anything. It's his vocal style is like, I told a friend of mine last night, like it's like listening to the 90s all at once. Like it's
nice.
It's like a lot of 90s rock grunge kind of stuff. And I can't say enough good things about Sam. And he's also a friend of mine, so it's easy to recommend him. And he's going to be opening since we've been mentioning tours, he's going to be opening for Alice on their Madison date. So
fantastic. I wish I could see Alice live.
They're coming near you, I think.
No, they're not.
Oh, all right.
I wish.
Okay.
Trust me. No, that's fine. But yeah,
you did say you're going to Gary Newman Frontline Assembly, yeah? Yes,
I am going to that. The nearest to me is New York. So,
but I will not be, just because I will be at the Alice show the same night. So.
Yeah, I honestly, you're making the better choice, I think. Although Gary Newman would be great, but
yeah,
Samtar. I'm gonna say here, I love this album title, "Shadow of the King Strayed."
Oh yeah.
I love that album. I'm already, I'm already into it.
Yeah.
Like I'll listen to it tonight, and I'm sure I'm like, yeah, with a title like that, I'm into it.
And it seems up your alley. Like, I mean, I like Sam and everything, but like, it does seem like a record that like, an Ilker would like. So, so I feel a little bit remiss that I haven't like suggested it to you sooner. Honestly,
well, I'm glad that you did.
So
Well, yeah, but I'm glad that you did, and I'm going to be very happy to check this out.
Excellent. All right, now hit me with your movie rec. This is what I've been waiting to hear.
Okay. I actually have not watched a lot of new movies lately.
Mm-hmm.
And by new, I mean like new as in just released this year or released last year. I mean, the Batman was released, 2021 now? Or was it 2022?
Yeah, either of those are acceptable answers.
So whenever, I think the Batman is sort of the newest movie, and that's more than a year old at least. But I did love that.
Okay. I did finally watch it, and I did like it overall.
Yeah. I think it's a strong movie. If not, like I can understand it won't be a lot of people's favorites, but I think it was a strong, it was a strong movie in terms of just, it was well written. It was, Robert Pattinson did a good job. The atmosphere of it was very Batman, but also kind of said, okay, we're going to give you something kind of closer to Gotham because the Penguin. Which, by the way, somebody give the makeup director fucking Oscar, because I still
know that was Colin Farrell.
I still have trouble believing that that's him. I'm like, how is that Colin Farrell under that?
When the credits rolled, I was like, fucking where?
Right? Like, where was he?
I was so lost.
And Paul Dano was fantastic in it. I mean, it was a good movie. It's one of my favorite Batman movies now. I'm not sure it is my favorite, but it's definitely up there.
And for Paul Dano, I just have to say, when people talk about There Will Be Blood, yeah, Daniel Day-Lewis is amazing, but Paul Dano holds his fucking own in that movie and in everything he's in.
Absolutely. I hadn't seen what was that movie? Hello, Little Sunshine, Miss Sunshine.
Yeah.
Is that the title? I always forget the title because it just always gets confused with Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind in my head, and I know those are completely different movies. Mm-hmm. But Paul Dano is great in that as the kid who won't speak until finally he just lets it out like fuck.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as movies, mainly just been watching a lot of old favorites, and Although I did actually watch for the first time Tarkovsky's Stalker, which is one of those quote unquote classics that I had not seen, and now it's on HBO Max, and apparently it's also free on YouTube. So I was like, I don't know, let me watch this crazy Russian, sci-fi movie, and it's I'm gonna say it's a little more watchable than Solaris was, but it's one of those movies where you look at this and just think this is somebody who had too much money and gets to say, I'm making art.
Ooh, that sounds like a thing I don't want to watch.
Yeah, it's not.
I did finally watch Logan's Run, and I went into it completely blind. I had no fucking idea what it was about or anything, and I was like, "What a ride!" I was like, "What the fuck even is this?" What?
Yeah, I saw that when I was very young, and even then, I was just like, "Huh."
Oh, like it's a very hard left turn of a fucking plot. Like, wow.
And it's very of its time in the best possible. Like when people think 70s, I'm like, it's so 70s, but in the best possible way.
Yeah, it is worth watching. I would say it's fun, even if you don't have to love it. Like you don't have to watch it ever again, but it will be an hour and a half or whatever it is runtime this is fun. Like this is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
You get to watch. I don't want to. I see. There's so many things I want to talk about, but I don't want to spoil it if somebody ends up watching it.
No, that's. I mean, maybe we'll have you on Real Talk to talk about it.
Oh, I'd love to.
Yeah, we'll see, because I'm still trying to find the best avenue to have guests on, because John and I get to record so few. Like we actually just recorded a new episode. We have enough recorded to finish out the third season and the fourth. So I'm trying to space things out and get the right episodes done. We just did a full commentary for Terminator 2. Because we were just like, it's just one of our favorite movies. Let's watch it. And, that was a lot of fun because, Terminator 2. Do I need to say more?
Yeah.
And also just loving the fact that HBO Max has all these movies from like the French New Wave of the 60s, because, Jean-Luc Godard died not too long ago, and it's one of those things of like, I've seen Alphaville a billion times, but apparently that's not even the most indicative of his work. And so it's been kind of nice to watch all these movies from the 60s French New Wave on HBO Max and be like, this is different.
Right.
I mean, I dig movies that are not just straight plot and action that so many movies these days are. Even dramas just tend to, embellish everything with a lot of quick angles and quick edits, and I'm just like, again, maybe I'm getting old. Slow down, people.
I think that, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I watch a lot of horror, so it's like that's only what I can only really speak of. And I mean, that's another thing that's kind of changed since you and I were much younger. It was like, what movies are you watching? Oh, what's being fucking made and being filtered to you through what's at the theater, or what's being aired on TV, or what does the video store have, or what is, we're living in an age now where it's like, whatever your genre is, whatever your flavor, you can have as much of it as you want. And so there's a lot less cross-pollination, I guess, in that respect, as far as like movie taste. Because I've also just never been a big drama person. Like I just tend to find them boring. But
that's fair.
I mean, I say that, and I've been like watching the goddamn Sopranos for like weeks now, and I'm like, I wish I could stop. I'm like, I don't want to watch any more of this, but I'm just sort of like, well, I do. I really want to see what happens. But
I think that's why I've avoided The Sopranos. I was like, I don't want to get sucked into this because Breaking Bad sucked me into it. And by the time I was done, I was just like, oh, that was so good. I'm so tired. I don't want to watch anymore. And then everyone's like, oh, no, but now you got to watch Better Call Saul. No!
Yeah.
Like, I protest by not watching it. I've never seen an episode of Game of Thrones. And I'm just like,
You're not really missing anything there. It crashes and burns. That fucking
right. That's what I've heard.
But Andor is the other. I can't stop talking about fucking Andor. I love it so much. Even
I
if you
will
are
say
not
I
a Star War person. It is worth watching.
I watched a couple episodes and I agree. I Rogue One for me was already like, for me, just that revelatory kind of like, see, you can make a good Star Wars movie. Like it's possible, that doesn't rely entirely on, oh no, but it has
lightsabers.
Yeah, like
they are not necessary.
We don't have to do that, and it was so good. I always joke that my one problem was the ending, just because the way it leads into A New Hope, with Leia trying to say like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm a member of the Senate.
It ridiculous.
But in a way, it only makes her ridiculous. It's like, are you trying to fool Vader? Because, and it just makes me.
It's like you take my wallet while I'm like in the other room, and then like I see you leaving, and then I catch you, and I'm like, where's my wallet? And you're like, what wallet? I don't have it. It's like, I fucking just watched you drive off with it. Like, I fucking know you have it. Like, I'm gonna force choke you to fucking death. Like, I don't know.
You ever see that video where they sampled in Samuel L. Jackson lines and dubbed them into Darth Vader?
No, I haven't.
It's hilarious because they just take a bunch of clips from like various Samuel L. Jackson movies, and it's like, the Imperial Senate will not stand for this. When they hear, why don't we just leapfrog over all that shit and save ourselves a lot of time, of which we do not have very much. And I'm like, okay, that was ridiculously seamless.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary how these lines from random Samuel Jackson movies work for Darth Vader. But what's hilarious is that's how I hear it in my head now, of just going from Rogue One into A New Hope, of just like, I'm a member of the Imperial Senate. Bitch, I saw you leave!
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the other thing, too, is that it's like, that's the other part that I have like such an issue with, is that it's like, but look at the attire of your crew. I was just killing these people. They are dressed in the rebel uniform. Like, right? Fucking... Like, and
do I have to show you a whole room full of bodies?
The Rebel Alliance, like anyway.
Yeah, no, I mean, that was the only thing, and again, that's a minor quibble for what I thought was a fantastic movie, and so when Andor, I mean, I liked The Mandalorian. I didn't love it. I thought, oh, this is good. Like, this is a good Star Wars show, and so Andor, I was like, oh, okay, I could get into that. And
the last thing I'll say, the way I fix the ending of Rogue One in my brain is that I say, well, we don't know how long it took them to catch them. Maybe
true,
but given the urgency of it, it also seems like it's pretty fast.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think it's pretty well implied that the time between when the blockade runner escapes and the beginning of New Hope, when they're being attacked, is like that was not a long time.
No, it's very recent.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but it's always funny. I love talking about that in movies where, when from one scene to another, where it's like, well, we don't really know how much time has passed.
Right. And I mean, that's something that, I mean, you love movies almost as much as you love music. Maybe that's not true, but
no, it's true.
So Real Talk has been going for how long now?
Well, we just started the third season. We just started posting it, but we've been recording, I think, since late 2019. So, it's really just the fact that I have not been able to adhere to a strict schedule, but the third season is live now, and the next episode is going to be going up in a couple of actually. Yeah, I think actually next week actually is when I'm going to put it up. I'm going to be trying to make it an episode per month. And as I said, we have enough. We pretty much have enough episodes recorded for all of the third season, which is probably like anywhere between 7 to 10 episodes, depending. Our first season was 7 episodes. The second season was 6. Or no, it was actually 5, not counting a holiday episode that we did. And we have enough actually for a 4th season as well. So it's been going on for a while, and we're hoping to just keep it going just because it's a fun thing for us. We talk about movies, we do full-length commentaries. The 3rd season actually introduces we're getting away from a season-long commentaries and just saving that for movies that we really want to do commentaries for. While others, one episode that's coming up, we talk about the movie Amadeus. Right. And we were both just like, well, we could do a full commentary for it, but why don't we just talk about it? We know the movie enough. We don't need to watch it while we're talking about it. Mm-hmm. And then there is some other discussion episodes. Like we have an episode where we talk about 90s cyberpunk movies. Mm-hmm. There's another episode where, and John really loves these episodes, where we talked about the rise and fall of the erotic thriller.
Oh, yes.
Which is something we don't have anymore these days. You don't
David Caruso's Jade.
Yeah, movies like that. Exactly. No, because they're a bit, like Body Heat with William Hurt, although man. Anything Brian De Palma did in the late 70s before Scarface and The Untouchables, yeah, we talked about those kinds of movies because it was like that's Basic Instinct. It's like these are movies that have fallen way out of fashion to the point that they don't really make them anymore.
Right.
So that was an interesting discussion, and of course that led to John saying that he wants to do an episode where we talk about the golden age of porn, which that'll be an interesting episode because it's an interesting topic.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
especially looking back at it now through the lens, newer lenses, I guess, of like,
oh yeah,
anyway, that's a topic I have thoughts about, but I won't open that door.
Well, maybe we'll bring you on when we do it. Then I'll
be really annoying. You don't want that. It'll be fucking awful. Nobody wants to hear what I have to say about that shit.
If you say so. I mean,
I will fucking run my mouth about it. Like it's, anyway.
Yeah. But no, real talk. It's a fun excursion for us, and we're hoping to just keep it going. And then the next episode, as I said, will probably be not this weekend, but next weekend. It's on SoundCloud. Just look up Real Talk, ReelTalk. That's all it is.
The episodes.
Well, they're not. We don't have them for download just because they're long. Up until now they've been full like movie length commentaries. But yeah, and that's the thing is why the format is changing in the 3rd season to have a little more variety of some. The first episode of the 3rd season that we posted was a discussion, just a general discussion about movie theaters, the home video, like because John and I grew up pretty much during the home video era, and one thing that he pointed out, that was it. That was the era. There was no golden era of home video. That was it.
Yeah.
Home video arrived, Blockbuster arrived, and then boom, we went right to like Blu-ray and streaming,
Right.
And so the video store is now this weird kind of anachronism that people wonder what it is. And it was an interesting topic.
For sure.
And we had a Halloween special, and of course I managed to fit in my my ministry joke in there with every day is Halloween.
Yeah.
But yeah, the first 2 seasons were all full length movie commentaries. Like we watched RoboCop, we watched Aliens, the director's cut. Right. We watched David Lynch's.
Is there another cut of Aliens? I mean, I know there is, but
there's a
one in my heart.
Yeah, well, there's the theatrical cut, and then there's the director's cut, which is just like 15 minutes longer.
Right. And 1,000 times better. Like, maybe that's,
I mean,
that's hyperbolic, but it
well,
is
yeah,
the
but
superior
well,
cut
yeah,
of the film.
I agree, but that's one of those things where it's like I also feel that the director's cut of Terminator 2 is superior, and John and I were both kind of like in this whole, well, a case can be made, et cetera, and as that's why we do the show, because we get to have those discussions, and the second season was fun because it was our sword and sorcery season. But of course, it also meant that John was the one who suggested the idea, and then he immediately regretted it. And I don't really know why.
Yeah.
He just kind of like, he just fell out of love with the idea almost immediately.
Sure. No, I get that. I'm as all over the place as it comes.
Yeah. I mean, we are too. I mean, like I said, we did Blade Runner, RoboCop, Aliens, Amadeus.
Yeah.
Because so we're not bound by, some people say, oh, so you're just doing nerdy movies. No, we're doing movies that we like. I mean, at some point, I'm sure we're going to do like a James Bond marathon or something. I don't know.
You're right. Cool. Well, congratulations. I'm glad you've been doing that this long. Like,
well, thank you.
It's good. Like, I mean, ReGen eats most of your time, but
oh yeah,
I'm impressed that you've like stayed up on doing it, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Well, thank you. I do the best I can. I mean,
you're killing
it is.
You've got so much content out there. Like,
thank you. Well, I mean, there's a lot happening, and it's not always easy to keep up with all of it. And I do, like I said, I do the best I can, and hopefully, I'm just happy if people read it, and as a lot of people have pointed out, I know I'm successful because I'm getting death threats.
Yeah, that's right. And plus, like, people, ReGen is a staple. Like, so, the world needs it. So,
well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, I don't want to keep you too long. I want to keep this, like, I'm trying to keep these like nice and tight now. Like,
gotcha. And here I am rambling on and on.
You're fine. You're totally fine. Like, but I have found, like, I've been happier with like keeping them like kind of nice and tight to like 40 minutes or so, and then like I don't know, I feel like I run out of like juice. So I mean, I don't know how you guys managed it. I mean, I guess a commentary through a movie is different than like trying to interview somebody and like where you're solely engaging upon conversation. But like,
yeah.
But I have found that, like, nice and tight feels a little nice and snug. But yeah, don't worry about running over or anything. It was such a pleasure to talk to you and get to catch up and talk about things.
Well, likewise, man. It's always fun to talk with you, man, and I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, for sure. I'm kind of bummed that you weren't going to go to Dark Force Fest. I was like, oh, Ilker be here.
Oh, actually, which does remind me, I think this weekend I'm posting an interview that we have on Dark Force Fest. Yeah, we got an interview with Jet from Vampire Freaks for that, so that's going up this weekend. And actually, I'm glad you mentioned that. So I get to plug that. So this weekend in ReGen, that will be getting posted.
Okay.
And yeah, unfortunately, I can't make that, but I hope people will be able to, because it does look like it's going to be a lot of fun. And just go out and support. Small bands, big bands, whatever.
Yeah.
After the pandemic, touring is harder than ever, and I think
I mean, you might not guess by
right?
all the tours being announced, but
I mean, yeah, like it doesn't seem like it, but I don't want to imagine. I mean, look, go out and see the bands, support them, buy merch, and keep music alive, because we need it.
Yeah,
we really do.
Absolutely agree. Well, again, thank you so much for coming in and hanging out. Happy, and it was so good to catch up, man. Like, we gotta do.
You too, man. Absolutely.
But all right, well, you enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'll talk to you again soon.
You too, man. Take care.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.